Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 Mark II, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. The sound technician writes in and says, I've literally just bought the SP404 Mark II and a MPC user through and through. I just want to get up and running ASAP. The SP workflow is bizarre to say the least. That's kind of a bummer. I actually find like a lot of the SP404 Mark II workflow and things have inherited a bit or kind of mimic a bit on the MPC. So if you understand the MPC, maybe it's just some of the terminology is just a bit different. So maybe I can show you how a few of those things kind of line up or match together. But yeah, it says you want to know how to make sequences from one-shots. I'm assuming you know how to do that on the MPC. You're looking to do this on the SP404 Mark II, and then play an external synth over the top to be resampled into my live Make 1. Cool. I've got a live Make 2, so a little bit different. But the way I've got this set up right now is I've got outputs 3 and 4 on my MPC are going to the inputs on the SP404 Mark II, and I've got the outputs on the SP404 Mark II going to the inputs on the MPC. Could I create a feedback loop with this? I certainly could, but it gives us the ability to have an FX loop so that we can use the sound sources on the MPC if we want, use the SP404 Mark II as an FX loop, and then send the audio back into the MPC. And you'll see if I play something here right now, if I play something here right now, we're getting audio going over here. The reason why is I have the mix button turned on. Besides that, I've got the OP1. You can't hear it right now. I'm going to turn EXT source on. But this is basically just going USB-C out to the USB-C in on the SP404 Mark II. So like nothing like super magical here. I'm kind of taking advantage of the SP404 Mark II being able to be a little bit of a mixer here for us so that we can get the inputs from the MPC, from the coming in, we can get the inputs from the USB-C for the OP1. And if I wanted, I could even hook something into the guitar port mic jack here and have a little bit extra audio. You can't adjust the levels per se, except for the volume or gain knob on the front here. But yeah, I mean, like you can kind of do some fun things with the SP404 Mark II. So if you didn't know that, that's cool. So as far as setting up the SP404 Mark II, I don't know how you're getting one-shots in there, whether you're recording them or not, but if you're in the sample mode, it's pretty easy. Just hit record, hit the pad, and play whatever audio you want to record it. If you don't know, you don't know, but hold shift and you can hit count in. If you got count in off, it will just immediately start recording when you hit the record button the second time. I usually leave it on count in wait so that as soon as it gets past a threshold for recording, it will just start recording immediately, and I just hit record to stop. Besides that, let's just delete that. I don't need it. You wanted to record some patterns for one shot. So if you've got one shots, man, that's pretty toasty. Let's turn that down. Maybe the inputs on. I might need to do some of the gain on my MPC here. I've been ripping apart my studio again and kind of simplifying stuff. So I got these two one shots. Gate on basically means it's just going to play while you're holding the pad. So you can get a little bit more expressiveness based on how long you hold the pad down and how hard you hit the pad. If you go pattern mode, all you really need to do is just hit rec and tap whatever pad you want to record the pattern into. You can adjust the strength in your BPM here and how many bars you want it to be for length, and you're really good to go. You just hit record. Now it's going to do the count in. I have the count in set to 2. I could change it to 1 measure. That's usually how I have it set to. And you can see we get the metronome going. If you want to turn the metronome on and off, just hold shift and pad 9. I usually have it on when I'm trying to record. So we'll let it loop back around and we'll play something in. So, I mean, it's like, it should seem like it's pretty simple. It's not a very complicated sequencer by and large. I mean, there's a few more things you can do. Like if you wanted to delete something, like if I don't like these hits here, I can just hit delete, go into erase mode, hold down erase. can get rid of whatever content. But besides that, I mean, it's a pretty basic sequencer here. You can get into chromatic mode if you wanted to actually play different things, but it sounds like you're not interested in doing that. So, you know, I've got this going, and if I hit record, I'll hit exit, so I'm not in record mode, because you don't want to automate the XT source button. Usually you can and use it as a gate, but anyway, now I can play some notes, which is cool. Now, let's say I want to actually get this into the MPC. The important part that you want on the MPC is to make sure that it is probably the master clock, because if it's not, it's going to cause you some problems trying to get the looper going. And what you're going to want to do is hold enter down and hit the pad, because this is basically going to say, it's going to let it know to take the transport controls from the MPC, and when you play it, it'll start playing. So the reason why this is working and not playing, I'll show you, is if I hit exit, you'll just see your normal pattern flashing. If I hit it, it's going to just immediately start playing. The transport controls are kind of baked into the SP404 mk2. So if you want to just select a pattern so that it'll start playing when you have an external source transport control, hold enter, hit pad 1. That just queues it up to basically play as soon as it gets a play note or play message from an external device like the MPC. Now, you're going to ask, how do I actually get all these settings done? If you're in sample mode, hold down Shift, and you're going to go to Utility, go into System, and then scroll with Control Knob 3 over to MIDI. I've usually got MIDI sync to auto. I usually have MIDI sync out off. The reason why I do auto here is that way it just picks up whatever the message it's getting. Usually I'm not sending it from multiple devices, but if you're worried about getting transport controls from like an OP1 and from the MPC, then you might want to tell it to use MIDI or USB, or if you just want it to work from its internal, just say internal. MIDI sync out is just making sure it's not sending a sync loop back, because I have the input and output for MIDI hooked up into the input and output on the Akai MPC. And sequence note out, basically this is just saying, is it going to play those sequence notes that I've played and recorded into the pattern? Is it sending it over? I don't want that in this case. And I think that's it for fun settings that matter over here. As far as we go to the MPC, the important part is if you go into your preferences here and go to MIDI and sync, we can see here we've got MIDI 1 and MIDI A. I've got sync and track. That's just so that it knows to send sync data out on A and B. So it doesn't matter which one I hook it up to. I've got it hooked up to MIDI A though. And with it sending sync, it's going to send the BPM and sync controls and transport over to the SP404 mk2. So if you're just wondering where that's set up, that would be how I would go about doing it. And the reason why I'm going over all of this is because what you asked for was to set up Looper. I'm assuming you want Looper anyway, to record on the MPC. So we hit main, and in this case, I'm going to hit this pad to go into hold down menu, not main. Sorry, it's menu, and then I just hit this pad that was assigned to Looper. And what I can do now is I can hit play, and whoops, I got to actually cue this up. We're going to hold enter, hit the pad. And actually, let's set this to 2 bars because it's a 2-bar loop. I'm going to hit play. I just am doing this to force it to get into sync. Still going to turn the volume down a little. Let's find something that's a better synth here. That's terrible. I can work with this. So what's going to happen if you're familiar with the looper on the MPC is it's just going to keep going, and until I hit record, it's not going to do anything. But we're playing this in sync. And the reason why I want to make sure everything's in sync is so that I can get a clean loop here. So what I'm going to do, I'll hit record. It's queued up to go. Now you can probably hear it. We're gonna say, whoop, hold on. It's a little crunchy. I didn't want to move to this menu. We'll just go save. I don't know. Whatever. We'll save it. Keep. Sorry. I meant to hit in, but I'm looking at this diagonally. So the reason why it sounded crunchy is we're basically playing the audio from the SP404 Mark II and the loop at the same time, and that was causing it to effectively double up the volume, and that's why it was basically overdriving the signal. Not what we wanted. But I don't know. I'm the sound technician. I hope this helps at least kind of show you how I would think about going about it. If you got more questions, definitely post them. Happy to try and talk through some of these things for you. If you want some more comparison between the SP404 Mark II and the MPC for how to do things, happy to kind of work through that and show some examples. And yeah, everybody, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.